welcome back to another episode of the DNC Reviews podcast. It's been a while, but we're back, and today we are going to be doing a very special review of Tyler, the Creator's 2019 release in May called Igor, his latest release. Don't leave, it's my fault. So, who would like to start with favorite and least favorite tracks?
Alright, I'll go. Favorite track? Probably between EARFQUAKE or Running Out of Time. And my least favorite is probably Gone Gone Thank You.
My favorite tracks are New Magic Wand, What's Good, and Are We Still Friends? Bangers. Least favorite tracks, I'd agree with Gone Gone Thank You. Yeah.
Alright, my favorite was also New Magic Wand, and my least was also Gone Gone Thank You.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I feel like Gone Gone Thank You was just like those last three songs on the album. You go from What's Good, super high energy, to Gone Gone Thank You, I Don't Love You Anymore, and Are We Still Friends? And those last three songs all sort of sound the same. And Gone Gone Thank You, first of all, it's long, but that makes sense because it's like two songs in one. Relative to the other two songs in its group towards the end, I just didn't really like it at all.
We discussed this in other reviews, but the storyline of an album, and we would have like the climax in like the middle or like towards the late beginning of the album. We would say like the last one or two songs are like that conclusion closing point, and I think this album had like three songs that kind of sounded like that, and that to me just felt like too long. There should only be like one song that like concludes the entire album.
Yeah.
And that song should still be interesting.
At the end of Yeezus, you have Bound 2. You cannot put another song after Bound 2. You can't have two Bound 2s. Another song that I really liked that didn't really make my top 3 was Puppet. I really liked the heavy pop, like hyper pop jazz influence on the instrumental, like with that snare drum acting as sort of like doing a little bit of a breakdown before every verse. Am I a diehard Tyler fan? No. I'd say I really like who he is as a person. I think that, but I have to be honest, because I feel like Tyler, the Creator fans are not honest with themselves. If you weren't there since the beginning, when he dropped Bastard and Goblin, I don't know if you would call yourself a diehard. And if Igor or Flower Boy was your first Tyler the Creator album, which Wolf was for me, so that's whatever. But if Igor or Flower Boy was your first Tyler album, and you refuse to go back to when he would rap about his dad and like how he hates his dad, and if you're not there for that, you shouldn't be there for the glitzy, glamorous, flamboyant Tyler that we have now. So am I a diehard Tyler fan? I would say no, but I really do enjoy his music. There's that.
No, I asked that because there are a lot of people at my school who like Tyler the Creator, like big fans and all that. So,
but like,
I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're like skaters and stuff.
You have Tyler the Creator fans who like the Wolf, the Goblins, the Bastards of the world. And then you got the Flower Boy Igor crowd, which I don't know if I respect as much, but at the same time, who am I to judge someone else for their music taste? I don't know. I just see a clear distinction between those two groups, and yeah, that's all I'm saying.
First day, I was talking to my friends, and then we were all like saying, "Oh, it's trash." It's like, what is this? And then like later on when we talked about it, we were like, oh, this album's really good. So yeah, I was wondering what you guys thought of the album.
Like fine wine. I don't know. Like whenever we hear like a
it's
rapper
been out for a year.
Yeah. Like whenever we hear like a rapper dropping something, we expect like the big hits and like the nice beats and the shout outs and the songs and the lyrics, the controversial lyrics, and that's what we expect in our first listen. But for guys like Tyler the Creator, Kanye West, and all those like people who kind of are more interested in like the storyline and the craft of their album, I'd say it's not like a shot of vodka where like it just hits you straight away. It's more like just like a fine wine where you start to enjoy it once you take your time with it, and also the more you leave it alone, like, and the more you come back to it, it becomes better. I've got a funny story actually. So the first time I listened to this album was in 9th grade, and it was during my free period. And the funniest thing was, like, I was just listening to it, and then in front of me was my friend, and he was breaking up with his girlfriend. And like, as they were like fighting about it in the hallway, I hear like EARFQUAKE playing on. It's like, don't leave, it's my fault, right? And then they're just like fighting. It was the funniest thing ever.
Artists who try to reinvent themselves with every album, I always listen to the album like 5-6 times before I even tell someone what I think about it, because I think that's not fair to them, you know. My first time listening to Igor, I have to admit, I was like floating. I had a fever. It was May 17th, 2019. It was a Friday, and so I stayed home from school. I checked Instagram, and I realized it came out, and I was like, oh, I thought it was tomorrow. All right, cool. I put it on. First thing I hear is that hard synth on Igor's theme, that first note, and I was like, oh shit, you know, like, it's that boy Tyler again. As soon as I heard that first note, that first elongated like synth note, I was like, whoa, this is about to be a trip. And it was. I'm so glad that he didn't disappoint. People say it's poorly mixed. Either people who say that it's poorly mixed either A, don't know what mixing is, or B, don't understand that it's an artistic choice to have the blown out 808s. Because there's no way Tyler, the creator, is gonna accidentally include distortion in his record.
They only listen to FL Studio created beats.
Exactly.
Like these perfect chord progressions and 808s. 808
like
patterns.
how much you want to bet that he had live instruments, like these like drum kits? They obviously aren't like a Nick Mira snare, you know?
Yeah,
like these are live instruments, and it sounds great. Igor is obviously in love. That's sort of the theme of the album. He does it really well. I think that Tyler, this is, if you look at Tyler's first album or Goblin after that, and you look at this album, you would have never predicted that he would drop this. Great album. The production is super rich. It doesn't sound cheap at all. You can tell everything is deliberate. Features are great. Lil Uzi is on this thing. Playboy Cardi's on this thing. Solange is on this thing. Kanye West is on this thing. Pharrell Williams is on this thing. Great production. Great lyrics. It's short. I don't really like long albums. You all know that. You know I hate the extra 16 tracks. Shout out to Nav. Igor is a heartbroken soul who is vulnerable, who is confused, who is frustrated. All of Tyler's target audience has either dreamed about feeling that or has felt that. And that is extremely important, because if you can relate to the character that the artist illustrates, you can connect with the album on a much deeper level. That'll only make you appreciate the music more. So who would like to start with the scoring?
All right, I'll go first then. Yeah, I enjoyed the storyline of the album. He's showing his whole process of like him in relationship and how he's choosing like friendship at the end to like keep in contact with that person. But yeah, the instrumentals were really nice. I liked how he was like diverse. He was singing, he was rapping. And yeah, I needed to listen to this multiple times, to be honest, but now I really enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know what I gave for other albums, but I'll give this album a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, following up on that, I thought this album was great. Production, I already talked about this. Production is A1. Lyrics are great. He doesn't sound confused like how he was in Flower Boy a little bit, because he was just trying to get his feet wet in that genre of music. He just feels confident, and when he's confident, as a listener, just makes you feel like you can believe in the artist, and that's super important. Features are great, super cohesive. The one problem that I would have, one criticism of the album that I would have, is maybe less poppy stuff. But that's just my personal preference. Like through the first two full tracks, he doesn't rap. And for me, knowing who Tyler was, that's a little strange. but that doesn't take away from the album. That's just my personal opinion, that maybe if there was a little bit more rapping, a little bit less of him singing, that would be more preferable, but still a really solid offering. With all that being said, I am going to settle for a 7.5 out of 10. Just knowing that we did T-Pab and Yeezus and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
So originally when I heard this album, I didn't really like it, but that's just because, I'll be honest, I haven't really listened. I'm not a big Tyler the Creator fan. Like, as in, like, I haven't really listened to a lot of his stuff. But now that I reviewed this album, something I like about him is like his untraditional and like unstereotypical structures of his songs. Because if you think about it, it's really hard to distinguish Tyler the Creator as a rapper or an R&B artist. He's like neither, and I think he should continue to do that. And for the songs, like, that's why originally when I first heard them, like, they kind of sounded weird to me, so I didn't like them. But as I started to understand it, I liked it even more. Maybe a criticism I would have is, like, as we mentioned previously, like with the last 3 songs, maybe some of the songs kind of touch the same topics and themes already, and maybe he should have been more utilitarian, where like he could use like less songs with the same topics, or like include more ideas. So with that in mind, I'll give it 7.5 as well.
Well, there you have it. Igor review. We're sorry about the delay. We didn't have an episode last week because there's a ton of issues with sleep schedules and tests and all of that. 11th grade isn't the easiest year academically, but we are making do, and we're trying to get more content out to the few of you that care. Igor review, DNC Reviews podcast, and it's over. Goodbye. Running by myself, ain't no looking back. Checking on my health, no, I'm good at that. Running up a check, no, I'm good at that. Aiming at your neck, slow it at the back. Crooked to